Nobody told you. That's the wildest part. You've been sitting on it. Not in a bank vault, not in some offshore account, just sitting there in your daily habits, your choices, your weird little routines, and nobody did the math for you. Someone with your exact life, your exact income, your exact spending patterns ran the numbers, and they came back with a figure that made absolutely no sense. Not in a bad way, in a wait what way. You are worth more than you think, probably a lot more. And the reason nobody told you is simple. It was never in anyone's interest to tell you. If you want more videos about money that's technically yours but somehow feels like a stranger's, subscribe. We find this stuff so you don't have to stare at your bank balance and cry alone. Let's set the scene. The year is 2009. The global economy just got hit by a bus. Millions of people lost jobs, homes, savings. The media was running wall-to-wall coverage of financial collapse. Banks were getting bailouts worth hundreds of billions of dollars. And ordinary people were being told, save more, spend less, the middle class is shrinking. But quietly, something else was happening. A small group of researchers, behavioral economists, financial analysts, a few rogue statisticians started crunching data that nobody asked them to crunch. They weren't looking at billionaires. They weren't studying hedge funds. They were studying normal people. People with average salaries, people with modest homes, people with streaming subscriptions and grocery lists and gym memberships they use 3 times a week. And what they found completely contradicted the panic in the headlines. Ordinary people were quietly accumulating value, not through investments, not through inheritance, but through habits, assets, and untapped potential that never showed up on any net worth calculator. The silent millionaire wasn't a myth, it was a pattern, and there's a real chance that pattern looks exactly like your life. Here's where it gets interesting. Most people calculate net worth wrong. They look at their bank account, maybe their 401k, maybe the car loan they owe. They subtract the bad from the good and they end up with a number that feels small, maybe even scary. But that's not net worth, that's liquid net worth. And liquid net worth is only a fraction of the actual picture. Think about what you actually own, your skills, your professional network, your earning potential over the next 20 years. Economists call this human capital, and human capital is, for most working adults under 50, the single largest asset they possess. A 35-year-old with a stable job earning $60,000 a year has roughly $1.2 million in future earning potential before a single raise, before a single promotion. Most people never count that. Most people walk around thinking they're broke when they're actually sitting on 7 figures of future value. That realization alone changes everything. But wait, it gets even more specific than that. There's a guy named Thomas Stanley. He spent 20 years studying American millionaires. He wrote a book about it called The Millionaire Next Door. And the core finding was almost insulting in how obvious it was once you heard it. Most millionaires don't look like millionaires. They drive used cars. They buy store-brand groceries. They live in normal neighborhoods. They don't post on Instagram. They don't have a boat. They just quietly, consistently, boringly accumulate. Stanley found that the average millionaire built their wealth through one habit above all others. They spent significantly less than they earned for a long time. Not dramatically less, not deprivation level less, just consistently less. Over time, that gap, that quiet margin between income and spending, turned into something massive. And here's the part that hits hard. The behaviors Stanley described in his research look almost identical to behaviors that lots of completely average people already practice. The person who packs lunch, the person who cancels unused subscriptions, the person who drives the same car for 8 years. These people aren't being cheap. They're accidentally running the same playbook as the wealthy. You might already be doing this, and you might have no idea what it's building. Now let's talk about something even stranger. Your attention, your time, your ability to learn a skill and deploy it. That has a market value that most people massively underestimate. In 2023, the average hourly rate for a freelance video editor on major platforms was between $45 and $85 per hour. A freelance copywriter, $50 to $150. A data analyst, $60 to $120. These are skills that millions of people have right now, sitting unused because nobody told them there was a market for it. The silent millionaire isn't always someone who saved their way there. Sometimes it's someone who suddenly realized their hobby was worth money. Their skill was an asset. Their knowledge was a product. The value was always there. It just needed a transaction to become visible. And the moment someone names a price for what you can do, everything changes. You go from employee to asset, from worker to wealth. Here's a dark one. There's a very good reason the financial industry doesn't tell you that you're already wealthy in ways that don't require their products. Because if you understood your own value clearly, your human capital, your compounding habits, your untapped skills, you wouldn't need half the things they sell you. You wouldn't panic buy insurance products you don't need. You wouldn't chase high-fee investment funds. You wouldn't take financial advice from someone whose income depends on your anxiety. The silent millionaire is partly silent because the system prefers it that way. Confused people are profitable. Empowered people are harder to sell to. So the information stays complicated, jargon-heavy, and inaccessible on purpose. This isn't conspiracy, it's just business. But it means that self-education in this specific area is genuinely one of the highest return activities you can do with your time. Understanding your real financial picture isn't just enlightening, it's worth money, actual money. There's usually a specific moment. It's different for everyone. For some people, it's a conversation with an older relative who reveals casually that they've been sitting on $800,000 and nobody in the family knew. For others, it's running a simple net worth calculation for the first time and realizing the number is shockingly positive. For others, it's getting laid off, building something new, and discovering 3 months later that they're earning more than they ever did working for someone else. The wake-up moment isn't always dramatic, but it always has the same structure. Someone sees their situation clearly, maybe for the first time, and realizes the story they were telling themselves about their finances was wrong. Not slightly wrong, fundamentally wrong. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The silent millionaire stops being silent. They start making moves, and those moves, informed, calm, consistent, compound, just like the habits did. Here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. Poverty, for most people in the developed world, is not primarily a money problem. It's an information problem. The money is there, in earning potential, in skills, in habits, in time. What's missing is the framework to see it. The people who get wealthy aren't always smarter or luckier or born into better situations. Often, they're just people who got the information earlier. They understood the full picture of their own financial life, human capital, compounding, market value of skills, and they acted accordingly. The silent millionaire already exists. The only question is whether you're going to claim the identity or keep walking around not knowing it's yours. So there it is. You've been quietly building something. You just never had a name for it, a number for it, or anyone in your corner telling you it was real. The silent millionaire isn't someone else. It's probably you, in a slightly different version of your current life, with slightly better information, making slightly smarter moves for slightly longer than you thought you had to. If you want more videos about money hiding in plain sight, in habits you already have, skills you already own, and systems you didn't know you were running, subscribe. We're basically doing the math for you at this point. The least you can do is hit the button.